of the course. So this brief overview is going to give you a quick rundown about what we're doing this week and just to kind of go over a few things so that you make sure that you don't miss them. So just as a reminder, if you need any help at all, if you're a little confused, if you feel like you're not quite catching on to things, go ahead and sign up for one of my office hours. I'm available Mondays and Wednesdays by appointment. As it says on my contact page, I also am able to meet, if you just give me 24 hours notice, I can try to work with your schedule so that I can walk you through whatever you need to be walked through if you feel like you're not quite catching on yet. So let's just take a really quick look at what is coming up, because this next project that we're starting on, Project 2, happens kind of quickly. If you thought Project 1 moved fast, Project 2 moves a little faster because, as you can see this week, you're doing a lot of back-to-back work. So today you're going to be doing the audience analysis for the employee memo. I believe that's memo 3.2. It's the one about H2O in your textbook. You're then going to be using that audience analysis to evaluate and revise the memo. Now, it's really important that you think about who the audience for the memo is so that you can think about what would be most effective for that audience. These are employees receiving a certain kind of information. Are they busy? Are they interested? Are they uninterested? What do they already know? How do you usually react when you have a boss give you information and provide correction or instructions? So you want to think about that, because in your evaluation, you really have to kind of write a lot of because statements, right? This needs to be changed because why? And you want to rely back on that memo. So you're going to do an audience analysis then for customer responses. And again, you'll evaluate and revise the response to the customer. Those are tasks 1 and task 2 in case 3 of your project based cases textbook. When you get towards the end of the week, you're going to be replying to customer claims, and then you have a justification memo and portfolio due. So pretty much the entire Project 2 takes place this week. I will be grading these pretty quickly, so make sure that you're getting them in on time, because I'm going to try my best to turn these around as soon as you get them in so that you get feedback that you can apply to the next one. So you're, just so you know, when you go to your assignments, and past due assignments, let's go back here, the writing infographics and justification have been graded. So as you can see in the memo, I've basically used, as you can see in the rubric, I've basically just used the instructions to provide the rubric. So you needed 3 distinct extenders as listed in our textbook. There were 8 different extension techniques that included things like examples, etymology, principles of operation, graphics, or visual aids. There were 8 different ones in our textbook. You needed to have at least 3 distinct ones. So I saw a lot of students who had, for example, 2 extenders that included examples. That's still just examples. That's still one extender. Or I did see a few students who confused etymology with just some part of the history of the topic. So etymology is the history of a word, how the specific word develops. That probably wasn't the best choice for this. The other thing to pay attention to is that you needed a sentence level definition that followed that category. That was not one of the extenders. That was just the basic definition. And then the thing that a lot of people missed out on is you were required to use 3 outside sources and cite them in this particular project and in your infographic. I would say probably about half the class did not provide any citations at all. So there was no indication that you had used outside sources. Without the citations, there's no way for me to tell what exactly the information came from. So that was a requirement. And if you missed it, you didn't get any points for that. So the other thing was the justification. Basically, again, I built it directly off the instructions. Was it complete? That is, does it provide a complete explanation for the infographic to evaluate its success and effectiveness? do you explain your choices in terms of the audience? So I don't make you do these audience analysis worksheets just so that you have something extra to do. The writing that you do on those audience analysis worksheets, you should be referring to that in your justification. For instance, if your audience already didn't believe in writing, right? Like if you said that your audience probably didn't think they would need to do a lot of writing, that might be something that you would list in your justification to make explanations for why you did what you did. This goes along to detailed examples. So I was really looking for you to pull out specific examples about the extenders you used, about the design features you used, and just about the overall layout and choices that you used. The thing I was really looking for, though, were the extenders. To some extent, I was interested in the design choices, but like I said before, this isn't a design class. I just want you to be thoughtful about your design choices and relate them specifically to your audience. Really, what I wanted here were that you discussed each of the 3 extenders in detail. And then finally, remember, we don't really have exams in this class. So your justification documents through each project, what they're doing is they're showing me you've mastered the content, the knowledge, and the skills necessary in that project. For this one, the big thing that you needed to master was definition. Could you select 3 appropriate extenders? Could you differentiate between those 3? Were you kind of mixing them all up? Did you understand how to write an extended definition? So if you have any questions about your grading, if I marked that you should come see me, you should come see me so that we can talk about how you might be missing course information. If I told you to use the, that it would be helpful for you to use the tutoring, don't forget that is under resources for students. I'm sorry, not Canvas resources. That's under PGCC student support. You can go to the Writing Center. And then there are a couple of different tutors I would really recommend. Professor Goldberg teaches business writing, which is really similar to technical writing, so he would be a great resource to use. And then the other person that I would highly recommend is Professor Wildy, because Professor Wildy does teach technical writing, and he actually worked as a technical writer in his past life. So don't leave those free support services on the table, especially if you feel like you're struggling in this class. It's a strange class. This is not your traditional essay course. It's really, really important that you are studying the content in the textbook through perusal, because if you don't have that content, you are not going to be able to do the evaluation and writing activities through our case studies textbook. So a couple other things to pay attention to. We are doing now Project 2, which is, I'm going to just leave the student view for a second. So Project 2, which is your correspondence project. So make sure that you have done the instructions, that you've looked through it. This tells you all about what you're going to be required to do. The other thing to pay attention to are these sample documents. So there's all sorts of sample documents. I'm still seeing people who are not formatting emails and memos appropriately or correctly based on what's in the textbook and what's in these sample documents. So you'll see notes like, please refer to the sample documents. Make sure that you're doing that for this particular information. So pay attention. There are adjustment messages. Those are positive responses to client or customer complaints, and there are negative messages like request refusals. As you see, when you go to these, it's going to give you an example, including annotating that example for why it is or is not a good example. So don't forget to look at those sample documents. They're a really great resource to help you figure out how you're supposed to be writing your own project. If you have any questions, let me know. Good luck this week. It's going to move kind of fast. When we are done with this week, we're going to be moving into one of our larger units. So we'll be doing correspondence this week. It's a pretty short, easy unit, but then we're going to be moving into proposals, and proposals are a really important part of technical writing. It's a kind of writing that you'll do often in the workplace, whether you're proposing services or trying to drum up business, or trying to make a change in the way that a company works. So that is a slightly longer project. It's going to go on for a little bit longer, and then we'll be doing instructions after that. So I hope you have a great week. Let me know how I can help with anything. And if you do need help, please don't hesitate to reach out. You can always use office hours or ask for an appointment. Have a great day.